So Mars is finally direct in Cancer after being in retrograde since December 6th, 2024. But before you rush to make any big moves, we're actually not done yet, as we've just entered the post-shadow period. This is where we actually process everything that Mars retrograde forced us to sit with. So what does this mean for all of us? When Mars was retrograde, we hit delays, frustration, and emotional setbacks. It felt like nothing was moving forward, or when we did try, it felt like we were hitting obstacles. Now that Mars is direct, the energy is shifting forward again, but the post-shadow period is where we integrate the lessons from the retrograde. This means that we're revisiting situations from the past 2 months, but now we have the opportunity to handle them differently. Emotional clarity will also be kicking in. What may have felt emotional and overwhelming before will now suddenly start to make sense. We're also starting to build momentum again, but slowly. Think of this like coming out of a fog. You can see where you're going now, but you still have to tread carefully. Mars in Cancer is not aggressive like it may be in Aries or Scorpio. It's protective, emotional, and reactive. The post-shadow period is about learning how to channel those emotions into action instead of just reacting. During this period, you might notice you're more aware of your emotional triggers. Things that would have set you off during retrograde may still come up, but now you have the chance to act differently. You may also feel a shift in motivation. If you felt drained, you may start feeling a drive again, but in a way that's deeply connected to your emotions. And you may also experience lessons surrounding boundaries. If retrograde showed you where you've been overextending yourself emotionally, now may be the time to reinforce those boundaries. During this post-shadow phase with Mars retrograde, you'll likely see a resolution to something that's been dragging on since December. You'll also experience more confidence in expressing how you really feel. If you've been sitting on emotions, now is the time to put them into words. And lastly, you'll see slow but steady progress. Mars is moving forward again, which means we're going to see more forward movement, but Cancer still likes to take its time. Here's some tips on how you can work with this energy. Take action, but don't force it. If something feels uncertain, just wait until you have more clarity. Check in with your emotions before reacting. Are you reacting from the past, or are you actually seeing the situation for what it is? Start rebuilding your energy. If Mars retrograde left you feeling exhausted, focus on rebuilding your energy and not necessarily on sprinting forward immediately. And lastly, reflect on what's changed for you in the last few months since December. What lessons did you learn during the retrograde, and how can you now move forward differently? Mars retrograde brought to our attention what we needed to change, but now during the post-shadow period is when you actually start integrating those changes into your life. So ultimately, Mars going direct means we're finally unstuck, but the post-shadow period is where we process what just happened over the last few months. This is where we rewrite patterns and move forward with intention. If you're looking to make more sense of what happened to you over the past few months, on my website I offer a transit chart reading, and we can go deep dive into how this Mars retrograde affected you personally. And I also just published my first book teaching you exactly how to read your birth chart. So I posted it on my website. I'm so excited for you guys to read it. Check it out. Also includes a deep dive into Lana Del Rey's birth chart to teach you exactly how to read a birth chart. And then in the back of the book, you have the chance to do your own birth chart based on everything you learned inside the book.